The following video offers a theory as to what was the inspiration behind the story of the Garden of Eden. When I say inspiration, I'm not referring to the purpose or meaning of the story. The purpose is pretty clear. The story offers an explanation for the origin of life on earth, as well as God's relation to man, sin, etc. The theory that I present in this video is an attempt to explain what inspired the writers of this particular creation story to include several specific details. This new theory of mine is based on two well-known theories that I link together in what I think is a unique way, using a couple of key phrases from the Bible. Now, the first theory concerns the physical location of the Garden of Eden, which is estimated to have existed about 8,000 years ago. Now, there are many theorized locations for the Garden of Eden. As you can see on this particular map, sites for the location for the Garden of Eden are all over the world. However, the theory that best fits the Bible's description and what is also a logical location is the so-called Fertile Crescent area. Now, the Fertile Crescent included ancient Mesopotamia and some surrounding areas and is widely considered by experts to be the birthplace of Western civilization. The modern countries of Iraq and Syria cover the majority of what was the Fertile Crescent. While the Fertile Crescent was a large area, a researcher named Juris Zarnas, he's an archaeologist and professor at Missouri State University, has developed a theory that locates Eden in a very specific spot within the Fertile Crescent. Now, this theory has been published in journals, been on TV, and is also covered in at least a couple of YouTube videos. And this theory focuses on the Bible's description of the rivers of the Garden of Eden. Now, the Bible says that there was a river in Eden, and it branched out into 4 other rivers. There are 3 prominent rivers in the Fertile Crescent that flow into the area near the head of the Persian Gulf. The Euphrates River was mentioned by name in the Bible. One of the other rivers has long been interpreted to be the Tigris River, and these are the 2 main rivers in the Fertile Crescent. The third river is thought to be the Karun, which flows in from the east, and you can see it here in this particular slide. It's only relatively recently that a 4th river has been located in the area of the other 3 rivers. It took satellite images to locate the path of this 4th river because the area it flowed through has been dry for thousands of years, and thus it was unknown in modern times. The theory is summed up in this map, which shows the rivers and the location of Eden. Due to rising water levels in the Persian Gulf about 6,000 years ago, the Garden of Eden is now underwater. For more details of this theory, see the reference section at the end of this video. The second theory was developed by Jared Diamond. He's a professor of geography and physiology at the University of California. In his book, Guns, Germs, and Steel, he outlines the key elements responsible for the development of advanced civilizations. One of these elements is the existence of local animals that can be domesticated. For example, the Fertile Crescent area was uniquely populated with a large variety of wild animals that could be domesticated. Another critical component necessary for a civilization to thrive and become more advanced was the availability of wild grains that could be cultivated and thus lead to a surplus food supply. Again, the Fertile Crescent was unique in the variety and the nutritional value of its wild grains. As a result of the availability of the right kind of animals and grains, the rise of the first really advanced civilization occurred. A perfect example of this is the ancient settlement of Ur that developed into one of the first true cities about 6,000 years ago. It's significant to note that many believers in the literal interpretation of the Bible think that the creation of Adam and Eve was also about 6,000 years ago. The city of Ur is also mentioned in the Bible. It is considered by many to be the city mentioned in the book of Genesis as the birthplace of the Hebrew patriarch Abraham. Now, during this time, the waters of the Persian Gulf were even higher than they are now, and Ur was a port city close to the head of the Gulf. So, the Garden of Eden can be associated with the development of very early civilizations, especially Ur. In fact, the waters of the Persian Gulf started to flood the area of the garden about 6,000 years ago, right about the same time as the development of the city of Ur. Also, because the Garden of Eden was in the Fertile Crescent, it is necessarily associated with the two most important catalysts for the development of civilization: the availability of animals that can be domesticated and a wide variety of wild grains that can be cultivated. Based on these connections, it is my theory that the inspiration for the story of the Garden of Eden was actually rooted in the experience early man had during the development of the first real advanced civilization. This connection to the development of civilization is further revealed in two passages, specifically two words in the story of creation. These two words are dominion and seeds. Dominion over all of the animals is pretty clearly a reference to the domestication of animals. There's also a specific mention of seed-bearing plants and trees that have seed-bearing fruit. Now, a primitive hunter-gatherer type lifestyle is not concerned about seeds. Seeds, however, are the very basis for a more advanced society that has developed agriculture. Since seeds are prominently mentioned in the creation story, I think this passage about seeds is really talking about intentional planting and the cultivation of crops. Thus, domestication of animals and the development of agriculture are important parts of the creation story. Therefore, one of the inspirations for the authors of the story of creation of man is actually, at its roots, a story of the creation of early civilization, perhaps specifically the city of Ur.